You're tuned into Recovery TV, the voice of hope, with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Discussions and information on addiction and mental health issues. Here's your host, John J. Tassoni Jr., with today's guest.
Welcome to another edition of Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. Narcan, please get it at the pharmacy, CVS, URI has it. Keep it in your purse, put it in your car. This saves lives, ladies and gentlemen. This saves lives. My guest today is Mike Manfredi, and Mike has been in recovery for 15 years. And now he runs a recovery house in North Providence called Changes in Recovery. Welcome, Michael, and thank you for joining us today.
Same here, John.
How do you prefer, Michael, Mike?
Mike, doesn't matter.
As
Michael.
long as you don't call you late for lunch.
That's right.
There you go. So, you've been in recovery for 15 years.
Yep.
It's a long time, my friend, and congratulations
Thank you.
to that. And why did you go to the recovery houses?
I was living with my daughter during the pandemic,
Okay.
and we had words, and she said, "Dad, it's time for you to go." So in my mind, I had two choices: call my sponsor, or go out. Call my sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
It's a smart thing, and I ended up here.
Okay. So, how many folks in your recovery house?
22 guys.
22. All
20
all
plus
male?
me and my
Okay.
20 plus me and my roommate.
All right. Take me through a day at the recovery house.
I get up in the morning, have my coffee and everything. I'll go around, check all the rooms, make sure everybody's okay, make sure everything's cleaned up. Talk to the people, see if they're having issues. I can kind of tell when somebody's off their kills. They're all cleaned up. Next day they're greasy and dirt, not talking. I know something's up.
Mm-hmm. How do you get people to come into your house? Say you have a client that leaves and is in good shape.
There's a list. I think, John, I want to say a couple hundred guys that are waiting, and you go to 942 stop,
Okay.
which is Buddha and all them. And whoever's on that list is next in line. If we got an open bed, we get them. If we don't have an open bed, they'll go somewhere else.
Okay. So how long were you using, Mike? Or what
John,
were you
I
using?
started at the age of 12. I started smoking marijuana, and I progressed, and I put an opiate in my system at 15.
Wow.
And I never stopped till I was 50. So.
It's a long time. School? Did you go to school? Or did you just...
I got taken out in the 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a GED.
Okay.
I did get my GED.
Let me ask you this question. You think the marijuana is a gateway drug?
Nope.
You don't think so?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Nope.
So what?
It's all in your mindset. I mean, if you think by smoking marijuana you're going to go out and do something else, then don't smoke it. But for me, I wouldn't think it would be a gateway to anything.
So why did you go from marijuana to opioids? And then did you go to anything after the opioids or no?
Yeah, of course, the needle.
Okay.
It was the neighborhood I hung in, John. There was older guys, and I hung with their brothers, and there was plenty of drugs out there, plenty. And I came from a great family. Great family. I had a great mother and father.
So how did you get your drugs?
I went in the neighborhood. I didn't have to go nowhere. I didn't have to go far.
More about money.
I always had money. I worked. Parents gave me money.
So actually, I want to make sure I use the correct word. You are a functioning individual who could use and also go to work.
Yeah, at the early stages.
Okay.
At the early stages of my addiction, yeah.
Okay. What happened at the later part of your addiction?
Nothing counted but me getting high. Everything was off the table.
Were you homeless?
No. I was behind on my rent.
Yeah.
I did some stupid stuff out there. I was wanted. They kicked the door in. They handcuffed me 2011. I looked up in the sky and I said, "God, thank you for saving my life." I never touched a drug again. Never.
Did you go to prison?
Yes, I did.
How
Yes.
long were you in?
I was in there almost 5 years.
5 years.
This time.
Yeah. What do you mean this time?
No, there's numerous times. I have about 2 decades of my life locked up.
Oh.
All due to drugs.
Yeah. What made you change?
I had enough. The game got old. I was tired of running, chasing. I just had enough. I wanted to stop. And no rehab was would help me. I needed long-term rehab. It's funny to say it, but jail was the only place to go.
Well, it's not, I have a lot of people that come on my show that are in recovery. A lot of people went to prison. A lot of people didn't go to prison. I find it interesting that you would say that prison saved your life.
Well, because rehab 60, 90, 6 months wasn't good enough for me. I needed help, bad help.
Yeah.
So.
That seems to be the $64 question now with the MCOs, the providers of healthcare, not giving enough time to individuals. 14 days in detox, and then you're in there for maybe a month or two. But when I first got involved in all this stuff, there was a long-term process to this. Now it's almost like going into the hospital for surgery, and now they want you out.
Fast as you went in, they want you out.
Right. But when you're in these facilities, and I've talked to a lot of people about this, when you get out and you use again and you go back in, it's almost like a mouse on a wheel.
Exactly.
You keep going, you're going, you're going, you're going,
Don't
you're
stop.
in, you're out, you're in, you're out. How about your family?
I lost my mom many years ago.
Yeah.
1985. I was locked up. I just lost my dad 2 days after Christmas.
This year.
Yeah. I have a sister, older brother, and my younger sister passed away also.
Helpful in your recovery?
What do you mean by that, John?
The family.
Oh yeah,
coming in.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. When you look back at your life, I mean, I'm not sure how old you are, but
I'm 62. I just turned 62.
All right, you're a few years younger than me. What would you have done different? I mean, you're in the neighborhood. You got to do what you got to do to survive.
I believe it was trying to fit in with that crowd.
Right.
I didn't have to do that. I had great parents. My mother and father were great people. They were strict. I was just black sheep of the family.
Well, I wouldn't say you were the black sheep of the family. I think you were probably a little rebel.
Probably.
But when I worked at the training school for a little while, I used to talk to the kids about possibly try to straighten out, because if not, you're going to end up in the Cranston Hilton. I call the HCI Cranston Hilton.
Yeah, I told you, extended stay at the Cranston Hilton.
But these kids have to go back to the same environment, which is sometimes their hands are tied.
Right.
They can't get out of that situation. Whether it's here in Rhode Island or it's in Chicago.
Right.
Same thing. You got to go back to the same environment.
And
Go ahead.
I'm glad you brought that up, because for the numerous times that I was incarcerated, they would just send me out to the wolves with nothing to look forward to. So this time around, they started a maintenance program. I was the first guy to get it. I got the article. They did a big article on me in the journal. I did the Vivitrol.
Okay.
Every 28 days, shot in this side, and shot in this side. And 12 months, I lost the desire to get high.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to take a break, because I want to talk more about that when we come back. You're watching Recovery TV, and I'm your host, Sean Tassoni. We'll be right back after these messages.
And now, back to Recovery TV with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Recovery TV is made possible by our supporting sponsors and our title sponsor, AdCare. Now, here's John and today's guest.
Welcome back to Recovery TV, and I'm your host, Sean Tassoni. Mike Manfredi's in the house. Mike has been in recovery for 15 years, and now he's working and controlling a recovery house in North Providence. So, Michael, thank you, and thank you for what you do. And I'm so glad it's 15 years for you, because we were talking off air. If you were still using, you probably wouldn't be here today.
No, I wouldn't be here today, no. No, because it's so bad out there. You don't know what you're getting out there today.
Yeah. That's
it's dangerous.
That's the key. And people don't realize that. I have a lot of people talk to me about you know, they're not getting enough pain meds when they go to surgery. So the docs are not writing scripts like they're supposed to. So they go to the street. But
Right.
when you go to the street, you don't know what you're getting. You don't know. It's not clean.
No.
It's not clean.
No, it's not. I mean, I had surgery on my neck. I had a lump in my throat. I was under the knife for 15 hours. Doctor said, I'm going to send you home. I'm going to give you a script of, I think it was Oxycontin. So I'm all set. He looked at me like I had 1,000 heads. I said, I got ibuprofen 800s. I'm well. I'm good enough.
Yeah.
Because once I put one image on and I get that feeling, that queasy feeling, it's all over.
Yeah.
I know.
You know, when you're in the recovery housing world, those 20-something people that you take care of, almost like your kids.
Right.
Right?
Me and my roommate.
Because you have to look over.
Yeah, we have to make sure they're
know.
safe. We have to make sure everybody is safe and accounted.
And I know that we talked earlier about the youngest person that you had is 18 years old. Your job is 7 days a week, 24/7.
Exactly.
Why is that?
Because you got to stay on people, because somebody could be having a bad day and he don't want to talk, and you don't see him, or you don't go up and talk to him. You might find him dead the next day.
And you told me what? You don't want that where?
On my conscience. Never. I do a lot of volunteer service. I do a lot of good out in the community.
Yeah. You know, it's people like you that keep the bulk of the people safe in a way where I'm talking that they have someone to look up to.
Right.
They know that Mike Manfredi has been through that. You know the feelings that are contained.
Yep.
You know what to look for
Exactly.
when someone's sick or is not having a good day, who may or may not want to go to the street and get something. You know, I applaud you for that, Mike. I really do, because if we didn't have people like you, that 400 and something people who have overdosed over the past year or two, we would have more than that.
Right. And my roommate is the manager. I'm just the manager, and I got more time, but it's not about the time.
Yeah, it's about saving lives.
It's about saving lives, you know. I don't care if I got one day.
So my viewers can understand this. So you have John comes into the recovery house.
Yeah.
Give me your interview with John.
Okay, so he'll come in, he'll do paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork involved because of the state. We'll assign him a bed. I'll take him to his bed and show him, and he'll find a spot in the cabinet, he'll get a spot in the refrigerator. Because when you're living with 5 guys, you have to have a little bit of spot for each guy.
Right.
And I'll tell him, you ever feel like you're having a bad day? My phone's on 24/7. Call me. I don't care what time it is.
What about rules in a recovery house?
There's rules. There's strict rules. There's curfews. You know, we have a camera system so they can't get over.
Yeah.
You know.
So what happens if somebody breaks the rules?
So if their curfew is 11, we'll make it 9. We'll take a couple hours off them. We don't want to hurt him bad. We just want to let him know that he did something he wasn't supposed to do.
Do you ever show somebody the door?
I had to call the cops one time.
I mean, show somebody the door where it's saying, John, you're not allowed to come back.
Yeah, there's some guys on the blacklist. Yeah, we have some blacklist guys.
Is that because they use again?
Well,
or they
because
don't want to follow the rules.
They were getting high in the house
No.
and drinking in the house,
Yep.
and that's a no-no.
Hmm.
No.
What does your family think about you doing this type of work now?
I don't think anybody thought I would be where I am today, even my family, but they are grateful that I am here. And so am I. I'm
But
grateful
what do
every
they
day.
what do they think about the work that you do? Did they ever think that you going from age 12 to 50 years old, using, now all of a sudden you turn your life around and you're a productive citizen again?
They are very proud of me, very. I have a beautiful daughter. I have grandkids. You know, I left my daughter when she was a young kid with a baby. Drugs was my main was my main thing every day.
You didn't care
It didn't
about
matter,
nothing else.
John. It didn't matter what it was. It was drugs. I had to get high. You know? And the stigmas, I'll always be stigmatized, no matter what.
But not with me, you won't.
No, but with the real world, with the outside
Yeah,
world.
you know what, and that's a problem, Mike, because people don't understand that whatever you have gone through and you have fixed, and now you're a productive citizen again, and you're not on the state system, which a lot of these folks are, because they don't want to become productive citizens again. They just want to keep using, and then someday they're going to get something bad, and they're not going to worry about using again.
Right. Like I said, I got out of the game when the game was just got bad.
You know, I tell folks all the time, I got tired, I'm still tired of going to wakes of young folks and funerals of young folks and walking into a funeral home and you see the families just crying. And you look in the coffin and there's a young person there.
It hurts.
It hurts.
Sure it does.
It hurts badly.
It hurts.
You know, because they blame themselves. You know, because like you said, you had a good mom and dad.
Great parents.
Good mom and
Strict.
dad. And imagine if you were in the funeral home. How that would have devastated your mom and dad.
Right.
And people don't, and again, because they're so high and they want to use, they don't realize what they're doing to their loved ones.
Not only do you hurt yourself, you hurt your family.
Right. Your loved ones, yeah, exactly.
I mean, you hurt everybody.
Right.
My grandkids, my daughter, they were devastated. Devastated. But now I got the best relationship with my daughter. I got the key to her house. I'm allowed to go there anytime I want.
Yeah.
See my grandkids.
You know, it's like a 365. You know, it just turned, your whole life went
right around. She said to me, if you ever do anything wrong again, Dad, you will never see my kids. That stuck in my head because I love my grandkids.
Yeah.
I love my grandkids.
You know,
yeah.
and it's and you can, and I always say this to my daughter also. You know, I hope I'm here long enough to watch him graduate high school and graduate college, because it's a very, very nasty world out there.
Yes.
And we're going to take a break.
Sure.
You're watching Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. We'll be right back after these messages with Michael.
And now, back to Recovery TV with your host, John J. Tassoni Jr. Recovery TV is made possible by our supporting sponsors and our title sponsor, AdCare. Now, here's John and today's guest.
Welcome back to Recovery TV, and I'm your host, John Tassoni. Mike Manfredi's in the house. Mike is in recovery for 15 glorious years. So, Michael, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome, John.
We were talking off the record. What are you doing now? You're going to be certified in something?
Yeah, I got my bag. I don't know where it is,
all right.
but
Don't worry about your bag.
I'm going to be a recovery coach specialist.
Okay.
But I'm not leaving that place. I'm going to stay there.
Yeah.
And I can see people.
Yeah.
You gotta get so many hours. And I got a good roommate. It's tough to find two guys that have been through the same thing. He's a little bit younger than me. He's like 57, and we became like brothers. When I say brothers, the bond's so tight it can't be broken. We've never had an argument. We may disagree on some things, but we never had an argument.
Well, it's like that everywhere. Let me ask you about Narcan, Mike. You carry it?
Yes, I do.
Is in the house?
Oh, yes, I do. Every floor has them. But also, when I go to the houses myself, I take 4 or 5 of them with me.
Suppose you go in your car, you go for a ride. Do you have it?
Yes, I do. My roommate's got it. Yes, it's a lifesaver.
Yeah, it is, and you know, I wish more people would carry it. I mean, we're down 7%. They're telling me in overdoses.
Yeah, I know. I heard
Fatal
on TV.
overdoses, but. You know, I think that the progression of more and more access to drugs is getting higher. But, you know, we'll guys like you will save.
And there's going to be guys behind me that's going to do the same thing I'm going to do.
Right. Well, Mike, I want to thank you for coming on today. Congratulations.
My honor.
On your 15 years. I really appreciate that. And give everyone my best at the Changes Recovery Housing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Next week,
Appreciate
my
it.
friends, we'll have Christopher Farina on. And Chris runs a nonprofit program, so if you see something, say something. We'll see you next week.